This is Time Drive and I'm Joel Pereira, and today we start the show with a pertinent question. Is the D segment, the mid-size sedan, dead? Yeah, I know it sounds a little harsh, but hear me out. I remember 6 or 7 years ago when Honda launched the Civic, it caused so much excitement. And now, all this time later, that global bestseller has been discontinued in India. Yep, the D segment has been cannibalized by sedans from lower down the range like the Vento, the Rapid or the City, or by that current flavor of the season, the mini SUV. And so it would seem till Hyundai launched the all-new Elantra last year, injecting a sense of flair in a segment that hadn't seen any for a while, especially from the old Elantra, which looked boring and verging on ugly. The Elantra sold decent numbers, but then Skoda decided to up the ante and offer them some competition with the all-new Skoda Octavia. It's been a month and a half since the Octavia was launched, and Skoda claims to have received 4,000 bookings to date. The big question is, which is the better car? Right. Let's start where we always do, under the hood. First up, the Skoda Octavia. And today I'm driving the 2-litre diesel, an engine that seems to grow on trees down at the VW Group headquarters. Surely this is the engine that's going to be the big seller because India, fuel economy, etc. Now, considering that this engine has migrated from the outgoing Laura and is used on many other Skoda cars, we're superbly familiar with it. As familiar as a Yeti is to the Himalayas. Okay, I'll stop. Moving right along, like we said earlier, this is essentially the same car from the Laura and a million other VW products. However, but here the engine has been tweaked somewhat to improve fuel efficiency and performance. This is an engine that's putting out a decent 141 bhp and 320 newton meters of torque. Essentially the same numbers as before, but still the new Octavia feels about the same as it did in the Laura, if only a smidge quicker, considering that this is a slightly lighter car than the outgoing model. Now, since this engine has been updated, there's even less lag, and you can now ride the wave of torque like a California surfer at Maui, right from about 1700 RPMs or so. And then you're also getting decent mileage. We've been driving this car for the past few days and I've been getting about 12.5 kilometers in the city and about 16.5 kilometers out on the highway. Now, the Elantra, on the other hand, has the same 1.6-litre diesel engine that you'll also find in the Verna. So, max power on this Korean car is at 128 bhp and 260 newton meters, considerably lower than the Skoda. And also, as you drive this car, immediately apparent. The Octavia feels much quicker, and if worked right, will dart from 0 to 100 in less than 9 seconds, while the Elantra will take you about 11. However, if most of your driving is going to be in the city, this difference in power is not going to bother you too much, considering that there's very little lag with this car and driving it in bumper-to-bumper traffic is easy. Also, as far as mileage is concerned, the smaller engine is going to work out to be more economical. Compared to the Octavia's 15 kilometers to a litre, we got a combined mileage of about 17 kilometers to a litre in the Elantra, and that is pretty impressive. Now, both cars come with either 6-speed manual tranny options which work out equally well, but where the Octavia has the Elantra completely beat is if you choose to go automatic. Again, both cars offer 6-speed automatics, but while the Elantra comes with a laggy CVT gearbox, the Octavia comes fitted with a double clutch or DSG system, which really is unrivaled. All of this information, of course, will be pretty irrelevant to you if you, like most people in this segment, eschew the joys of the front seat and spend all your time in the back. And the back seat of the Elantra, the car I'm driving right now, is a great place to be as far as ride is concerned. It's quite plush and absorbs most of what our rubbish roads will throw at it. And that translates to a decent backseat experience. The Octavia, on the other hand, does ride pretty well too, but then there is an issue. The suspension in the Octavia is stiffer than the Hyundai, and that means that though the Octavia does ride well over bad roads and broken surfaces, the suspension gets noisy as it rumbles and thuds over cracks and potholes. If you are going to be driving this car, though, it won't matter too much as the handling is quite entertaining, rules of physics permitting, of course. This car will do what you want it to do, and as you hit a few curves, you'll have some fun. Now, when you see both cars side by side, it's apparent that both cars follow different design philosophies. Hyundai works with its curving, swooping style that it calls fluidic design, while Skoda has taken a different, more practical path, less flash, more stolid. Figuring out which car looks better is more of a heart versus head decision, and though I personally prefer the way the Skoda is styled, I know most will disagree with me. The same continues on the inside as well. The Elantra looks quite flash with its icy blue displays, while the Octavia sticks to a more traditional yet upmarket look. As far as features are concerned, both cars come with most of the bells and whistles, climate control, a great stereo with Bluetooth and aux ports and parking sensors, but you're getting a bit more with the Elantra. Push button start, vented front seats, and for you in the rear, armrest mounted audio controls. Where the Skoda scores though is its big full color display that takes care of everything from stereo to journey information and car settings, and due to the touch function is far more intuitive to use. As far as space and comfort is concerned, both cars are roughly similar to each other in dimension. The Octavia is slightly longer, so it does offer more legroom, but then the Elantra's rear seat is more plush and comfortable. Add to this the cushy backseat ride of the Elantra, and if you're spending most of your time in the rear, look no further than the Hyundai. Now, don't get us wrong, the new Octavia is a brilliant car, hugely improved over the Laura, stylish with enough space for 5, and if you're going to be the one driving, strong engines and sharp handling. The Elantra, on the other hand, does have a smaller engine with concurrently smaller performance numbers, and unless you are driving out on the highway, this is not going to be a bother at all, especially considering that the Elantra is more fuel efficient. The Elantra has a better back seat, more bells and whistles, and perhaps most importantly, better ride. But its ace in the hole, its trump, has to be its price. We've been driving the top-end diesel automatic versions of both cars, and here the difference is almost 2 lakhs to the Elantra's favor. The top-end diesel automatic will cost you 16.5 lakh rupees ex-showroom compared to the top-end Octavia diesel, which will cost you 19.5. There's a huge margin, and no matter how great the Octavia is to drive, it's not that much better. If you need to choose, we'd say go with the Elantra.